Hey, what's up guys, it's Darius, and this is my review of the Samsung Galaxy A5 and A3 2017 over half a year after their release. Before we start, I've used both of them, but they're very similar. The A3 is basically a smaller A5, so that's why I included both of them in one review instead of making two separate ones. Like always, starting with the design, I must say they look and feel very good for what you're paying. They're completely identical, apart from the size obviously, and they look almost identical to the Galaxy S7. I wish the bezels were a little smaller, but it's not a big deal. Sadly, they scratch very easily, so you may want to use them with a case or a screen protector. There are many other things they have in common with the S7. They're both IP68 certified, which is great. They have expandable storage, which is needed because the A3 only comes with 16 gigs built in. They're as ergonomic as the S7 and lie very comfortably in the hand. Especially the A3 is very usable with one hand, which is rare in my case. Sadly, the build is still attracted to fingerprints and smudges like no other phone. Now, of course, there are also a couple differences to the S7. First of all, they're completely black now, like the S8, which looks very nice and stealthy. They come with a Type-C charging port, again like the S8. Next to the charging port is usually where we find the speaker, but not in this case. Well, where is it then? Is it possible we get front-facing speakers on a Samsung? Sadly, no. The speaker is in a very odd position. They're above the power button on the side. It's a decent placement for when you're using it in portrait mode, but in landscape it's easily covered. Sadly, the sound quality is also mediocre. A couple of these, just a little better sounding, placed all around the phone would be a great idea. On the back, the camera is a little smaller, and they also lack a heart rate monitor, which I don't really mind. Turning them around, there are two surprises here. First of all, there is no LED notification light, which is weird, but I guess. And the other thing is, the fingerprint scanner is very good. It's the best one on any Samsung device, better than on the S8. It's not the fastest, but it's very accurate, and something that, well, quite surprised me. Now above the scanner is where you find the very nice Amoled panels. The A5's is 5.2 inches and 1080p, which really looks good, and the A3 has a 720p 4.7 inch screen. It's not as good maybe, but the resolution is sufficient for such a small screen, and it also helps in terms of battery life. The colors and viewing angles are great, and especially the A5's display comes surprisingly close to the S7's. They also come with the same convenient always on display as on the S7, which is nice. Moving on to the software, they sadly only run Marshmallow. The features are quite nice. Double press the home button to launch the camera. There are a couple of nice multitasking features, but sadly only on the A5. There's blue light filter and so on. There's even support for Samsung Pay. Overall, some very nice features, and there's even the Google Assistant. The design of the software is a little different to the S7's, but it still looks very nice. So the software is good, nothing really to complain about, but I wish they were running Nougat. They're supposed to get the update in the next couple of months, hopefully sooner than later. But Samsung has not the best track record when it comes to updating their devices, but it seems so far the A5 is getting updates faster than the A3. Coming to the performance, they're both quite snappy, but especially on the A3, there can be a couple of small slowdowns. This is not surprising because they do differ in terms of specs. The main difference really is the RAM, 3 versus 2 gigs. The A5 manages multitasking quite well, and it can keep open a couple of apps in the background, but on its younger sibling, you do often have to reload some of those apps. And the load, they can also become quite warm, which is not great. Now battery life was very good on them. They both last me through a day and then some. The A5 has a larger battery, but also a higher resolution screen. I was a little worried about the A3 because of the small battery, but thanks to its low resolution screen, there was no issue at all. I got an average of 5 hours of screen on time on both of them, maybe a bit more on the A3. They both sadly lack wireless charging, but the A5 has the advantage because it does support fast charging. So far they sound like great smartphones, so where's the catch? Well, it sort of is the camera. They're not bad, but they're noticeably worse than any flagship camera. The A5's is quite nice, but especially on the A3's, corners were cut. In good lighting, they can produce pretty good images, especially the A5, but in low light they sadly fall apart, especially because they lack OIS. Video is a similar story. They both sadly only shoot in 1080p. It looks decent, but it can be quite shaky. I also found the focus to not be that fast or accurate, especially on the A3. There's also a difference in terms of front-facing cameras. The one on the A5 is better. To conclude, they're both great smartphones. Back when they launched, they were a little expensive, but the price has come down now, and they're now well worth what you're paying. I'd only recommend you get the A3 if you want a smaller phone, or you want to really save that little bit of cash. Otherwise, get the A5. It's a great buy, but the S7 is only a little bit more than the A5. You just have to decide what you prefer in a smartphone. The A5 has much better battery life, a better fingerprint scanner, and USB Type-C. The S7 has a better screen, a better camera, and a slightly better software. If you want to buy them, I'll have a link down below in the description. Make sure to use that link, it would help me out a lot. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to smash the like button, comment down below if you have any feedback, and yeah, you can also check out my Galaxy S7 review right here, and yeah, make sure to subscribe by clicking here, and see you in the next one. Bye!